So next concept in this particular multi-threading is inter-thread communication. What is inter-thread communication is, so basically how the one thread is, so sometimes we need to work cooperate. That is, for example, we had send some data to one particular person. If he receives the data, then only we need to send the other information. Otherwise, what we continuously sending the information, if he is not able to receive that particular data, automatically data will be lost. So the threads need to be cooperatively work and they need to be communicated with each other. This is inter-thread communication we can going to achieve in the Java programming language by using three types of methods. One is wait, and second one is notify, and third one is notify all. What is a wait is? Wait is the method when we can use it. For example, we need to wait for a particular thread to be released. The already one thread is locked to the resource. It is using it. We need to wait for the particular thread to release the lock. At that time, we use the method called as the wait method. And the wait will be wait until that particular thread will give you the information signal by using a message by using a method called as notify method or notify or. Then the particular thread will come out of the waiting state. For example, if a thread is using a resource after its work is completed, if you want to intimate others, it will we use a method called as notify, and notify all for all. So I can explain these wait and notify all with the help of a simple program. And before that, we are this particular program we are doing using a problem called a popular problem called as producer consumer problem. What is a producer consumer problem is? So here the producer will place some values inside a queue, and the consumer will take this particular values. So this kind of problem is called as producer and consumer. But what is the problem is, the producer continuously putting, for example, producer is putting a value 1 and produce, so it is able to store only one value, for example. Now producer is very fast. He put first value and he put the second, he put third. So at the time of producer is putting the third value, the consumer is ready to accept the value. So whatever the value which is available here is only the value 3, and whatever the values produced by producer 1 and 2, which will be lost. So this is the drawback of the producer consumer problem. So this particular producer consumer problem we are going to solve by using wait and notify. What is the wait and notify is, after producer produces the value, after producer produces the value, will put that particular item in the queue and he will go with the thing called as the notify. And if queue is initially empty, the consumer is in the state called as the waiting state. And if producer get after producing a value, he will notify, then the consumer will get the signal, it comes out of the waiting state, then he will consume wait. Again, at the time of consuming item, he will generate the wait signal for the producer will be waited to produce the another value. So until the consumer receives the value, producer cannot put the another value. Why? Because producer will be in the waiting state. So after, so see here, first of all, the consumer will be in the waiting state. First the consumer will be in the waiting state. Clearly observe. First the consumer will be waiting state if the queue is empty. Now producer first of all produces the value 1 will produce it, then he will give a signal called as the notify signal. So by giving the notify signal, he will intimate, then the consumer will come to the out of the waiting state, then he will read the one value. At the time of reading the one value, what the producer is doing is, producer in the state called as the wait state. After notify, he will go to the state called as the waiting state. Then after reading the one value, the consumer will generate the notify. After receiving the notify signal, then the producer will place the value 2 again, and meanwhile after notify, consumer will also enter into the mode called as the waiting mode. Now the producer puts the value 2 and notify, then this particular consumer will come out of the like this the transformation will be happen. They will able to transfer from producer to the consumer. This is how we can able to solve the problem producer and consumer. So this thing I can explain with a simple program, then you can understand better. So see here, see, this is the output we're getting. What is the output we're expecting is, I will show the output, then you can understand. What is the output I'm expecting, or what I'm expecting is, put 0, then got 0, put 1. So whatever the value which is produced by the producer, given by the producer, that value has to be consumed by the that particular consume program. So put 0, got 0. Producer has placed the value 1, consumer has received the value 1. Producer has put the value 2, consumer has received the value 2. So this is how the program need to be executed. But the program is not executing in this particular fashion. What is the output we are getting? So what we are getting is producer is putting 0, 1, 2, but consumer is for 3 times is getting the only value 2 to why? Because at the time of consumer is receiving the value 0, 1 is not available. So this is the problem of producer consumer. How we are overcoming this particular problem? I can simply explain, then you can see. So how we are going to solve? So what we are doing is, see. So here, what I have done, I have a class called as Q. Then I have in the class Q, I also have one method called as the put method. Then I also have that particular another method called as the get method. So basically, I have class Q which contains two methods. One is get method and second one is the put method. So the producer or consumer has to place the value inside a queue, then with the help of the put method, and he has to take the value with the help of the get method. This is how the program need to be executed. And what the producer is doing is simply putting, by calling the put method, is sending the value to the particular queue. And what the consumer is doing is the value in the queue he is getting. So this is how the program has been written. But how we achieved this particular producer consumer problem, how we can overcome that particular problem, not able to receive the whatever the values produced by consumer. So how we are solving, I can explain very simple. Listen, what we have done is, initially I had made a boolean variable value set is equal to false, and after that, now for example, my consumer, so for example, what the producer is doing and what the consumer is doing, I can explain, then you can understand. What the producer is doing is, producer run method, what it is doing here, while true infinitely, q dot put of I plus plus. That means initially I value is 0. So q dot put, what is q? Q is the object of the that particular q class. So q dot put, I am passing I value. So I value is become, so initially what is the I value? So 0. So it is a post increment operator. That's why the I value will be 0 only. So by put 0, the method will be called. So what is happens if the put method is called is, so first of all, I have put int n. So 0 value, this n we have in the value 0. While value set, initially what is the value set? Value set is false. That means while value set, that means false. The way are not going to execute this particular, so condition is not satisfied. Now what is going to happen? This dot n is equal to n. That means the whatever the 0 value received, I assign to the this particular q class variable n. So that's why now the n is contains the value 0. Now after that, I had made value set is equal to true. Then I am printing a simple message put 0. That's why I am getting in my output put 0. Now after that, what I need to do, after putting the value, we need to notify. Why? Because consumer is waiting. How I made consumer is waiting until I put the value 0 is, so here I am notifying. So if I notify means the whatever the threads which are waiting will be notified. How, who are waiting? Consumer is waiting. How we made consumer is waiting is by writing a simple code. What we have done is, while not value set. Initially value set is false. So false negation, that means true. So automatically the compiler is going to enter into the loop, and what is the statement I written? Wait. So this is how I made my get method to be waited until I give the notify. So once the producer is putting the put 0 statement is done, it is notified, it will come out of the waiting state. What is the next statement is having? Got n. So got n. So automatically n value 0 will be there, and the value set, now what I am doing again, value set is equal to false. So what I made value set is equal to false, what happens is, here already the value set, for example, value set false, false negation true. Again it will go to the waiting state. So meanwhile, before this particular statement, what I am doing is after value set is equal to false, I am doing notify. Why? Because the producer is in the waiting state. The producer in the waiting state. What happened after put n notify? What happened is this particular condition here I made value set is equal to true. So condition is satisfied to go to the waiting state. So this particular get method notify signal will cause the put method to be come out of the waiting cell. Like this, the program will be communicate with the each other. So automatically they will able to receive put 0, put 1. So got 1. So until the put method is place the value, got will be in the waiting state. After got method will notify only, put will going to produce the another value. So this is how we can able to solve the problem of producer and consumer by using the concept called as wait and notify. So next concept is, yes, come to this. Next concept is suspending, resuming and stopping a thread. So for example, if your thread is running temporarily, if you want to suspend your thread, means you have to go to the waiting state, and if you want to again resume. So how we can do this is that we have the methods called as suspend, resume and stop. By using these three methods, we can make our program to be work in a different manner. Suspend causes the program to be automatically stop for some time, and again if you call resume, it will comes out. Stop means continuously the program will be in the automatically to go to dead state. So I can explain this with a small piece of program. See this. How we are making is, if you want to make the thread to be suspend, simply call the methods suspend. So automatically the threads will be go to that particular state called as waiting state. Then if you call the resume, then thread comes out of the thing. So see here, I will like to explore output. I can explain. So the first thread, second thread running. So here what I done, I suspended the first, that's why from the second thread only I am getting the output. Again I made my first thread to be resumed, that's why I am getting first one. So again after that what I did, I suspended the second thread, that's why I am getting only output from first thread. Again I am resuming the that particular suspending the third thread second. So this is how we can make my thread to be suspend and resume with the help of the methods like suspend and resume. So next concept is daemon. So daemon thread in Java. What is meant by daemon thread in Java is, for example, when you are using operating system, if you want to some programs to be work in the background, then further the operating system is going to create a threads called as the daemon threads. So daemon threads are threads which are having the low priority, their background. So mainly the daemon threads are used to perform background jobs. For example, in Java we have garbage collector GC, finalizer. So these are the different kind of programs which are working in the background. So basically the life of the daemon thread is basically depend upon the user thread. For example, if your user thread is dead, automatically your daemon thread is also going to be dead. So basically for background supporting jobs only, for example, if operating is running, for example, if you have your Java your Java type Java C, sometimes it gives a thing called as unable to find the command. But after that, if you set the path, then automatically that particular Java C command will be known. How we made is that particular set path command will be running in the file called as autoexe.batch. So those batch files will be started automatically when the operating system is loaded. So this is how we can make certain programs which will start at the time of OS and runs in the background without notice of the user, or by notice. You can also create your own daemon threads also. How we can create a daemon thread is, I can simply explain through a small program. So see this particular program here, you can understand how to make your current thread as a daemon thread. So see here, I have created two threads, T1, T2 and T3 also. Three threads I created. How I made my thread as a daemon is T1 dot set daemon as true. So it makes my current thread T1 as a daemon thread. So see, if I compile the program and execute, then you can understand how I can. So if you want to know whether your thread is a daemon thread or not, how you can know is thread dot current thread is daemon. This is the method is going to return us true or false. If your thread is a daemon, it returns a true, otherwise it returns the false. So this is how we can make current our thread as a daemon thread, and how we can determine the thread is daemon or not is with the help of the method called as isDaemon. And next last concept in this particular multi-threading is thread groups. How we can make several threads as one group. So see this particular program, then you can understand how to create thread grouping concept. So there is a class called as thread group. For that I create an object called as TG. For my current thread group I have given a name as subgroup 1. After that, by using the thread class, I created 3 threads T1, T2, T3, and how I made these 3 threads as a member of the new thread group called as subgroup 1 is, while creating the thread I am passing the thread group name. So TG is the object of the thread group. So TG and what is thread 1 is name of the thread. So like this I have created 3 threads, and the 3 threads are under a group called as the subgroup 1. Like that, here I created another group TG is equal to new thread group subgroup 2, and I created T4 and it's a member. So under subgroup 1 I have 3 threads, under subgroup 2 I have 1 thread is running. So if you want to know what is the group of current thread, simply how we can know is with the help of the method thread dot current thread of get thread group will give us the group. And also if you want to know the active group number of threads which are running in your thread group, how we can know is tg dot active group. This is the method. Active group count is the method which will gives us exactly how many number of threads which are running in the under a group. So and after that is a method tg list is a popular method. See here, the tg list is a method prints the information of group to standard console, how many number of groups. So you can understand this program. Just I will execute this, then you can understand this concept. So see this here. First of all, what we have printed is, first one is active thread groups. How many number of thread groups we are having, AGC we are done. So it is clearly showing that there are two thread groups. One is subgroup 1 and second one is subgroup 2. Again after that we call them TG list of. It is printed that totally how many number of threads are there. So the main thread is there. Then after that there is a subgroup 1 is there. Then after subgroup 2 is there. So those all threads information is printed with the help of TG list. So this is the about the multi-threading. I think you understand the main concepts of multi-threading in this particular session. So basically in this session, what the concepts we have been discussed is, we discussed about isAlive and join. So what is isAlive is whether thread is alive or not, we can know that by using isAlive. If you want to wait a particular thread to finish its job, we can call a method called as join, which makes the current thread to wait until that particular thread will be work completed. Then priority of thread, we can set up the priorities for thread. Highest priority that will be executed by first, and after that we discussed about synchronization. If you want to avoid the data inconsistent problems, whenever you are having shared resources or have access by multiple number of threads, we can avoid by using synchronization. Here we can use synchronized methods or synchronized blocks. Then after that, if they want to achieve mutual communication, we have to use inter-thread communication. For that, we have to use the methods wait and notify. Then after that, we discussed about suspending and resume stopping threads, and finally daemon threads in Java. So and also we discussed about thread grouping. So these are the concepts. So if you want to know the more information about this topic, you can see I can show one book to you. So that book will be better. So what is that book is? Java 6 Programming Black Book. So this is the best book. It contains more number of methods. With a limited amount of time, I have shown only the few number of methods. If you have required more number of methods and you do more practice, please go through this book. Again, I can show that particular book, Java 6 Programming Black Book. Thank you.